Welcome back to Pilgrim Lanes in Haverhill for the second string of the Pro Series Playoffs final match. As you recall from the first string, Jim Putney leads Shawn Baker by 28 pins by virtue of throwing a 147 in the first game to a 119 for Shawn. So he will start off this string being the lower seed. He was in Jim Putney is the number 17 seed and Shawn is the 14. And Jim misses the head pin, but gets a nice break, and he's left with the 1-2, just a 2-pinner. And he's got it. He starts the second string just the way he was bowling in the first. He had that stretch of 6 marks in a row. And he begins the second with a spare. That's a pretty full hit on the head pin, but a nice break for Jim. 8 dropping a 4-7 with a plank right in front of it. Good chance to make another spare. And he does. 2 spares in a row to begin. So that really puts some more heat on Shawn Baker, as if there wasn't enough already with a 28-pin deficit facing him at the beginning of the string. But of course Shawn is perfectly capable of throwing some big scores, as you undoubtedly know if you follow candlepin bowling regularly. He can throw a lot of strikes. So this match is by no means over. But Jim Putney has been bowling extremely well all day, just to plow his way through this very, very strong field en route to the finals. Shawn Baker begins with a 9 box. So he's got a long climb ahead of him. And a little too full on the head pin there, leaving the big 5. 2, 4, 6, 7, 10. No wood to help. Very difficult spare. And it's still there. So Shawn will have a couple of open boxes against the 2 spares by Jim Putney. You can hear some activity again over on the left side of the house. That's the NBA State Tournament youth events going on over there. Pilgrim Lanes has been hosting that event for a long time. Well, it was at other houses at various times over the years, but I recall my first exposure to the state youth tournament was in 1975, right here at Pilgrim. They've done a lot for youth bowling over the years at Pilgrim. Always had a very strong program. And Jim Putney with a 4 on the spare in the second and a 9 in the third box. You can see Jim looks awfully tired because he's exerted a lot of energy in winning the 4 matches so far. But it's really not affecting his game at all. And look at another solid 1-2 pocket. Yeah, he's just been pounding the head pin all day. Really not allowing the fatigue to affect his game in any way at all. And there's another spare in the 4th box for Jim Putney. So Shawn Baker has an even higher hill to climb as he comes up in the 3rd box. And there is a strike for Shawn. That's a good way to get started. Kind of a very high hit, sort of a semi-splash, and that 2-pin goes to the sidewall and hits the 4-pin, and then the 4-pin is kicked all the way across over into the 6. So that's a strike in the 3rd, and very timely. And Shawn was really hoping for a double there. He stuck it right in the 1-3 pocket. Drop 7, leaving the 4-7-8 triangle. Pretty makeable spare, but not an easy one. And look at that, the 8-pin is rocking, but it won't go. He hit the 4-pin, you know, left side of the 4-pin, but just caught a little bit too full, and it touched the 8 as it went by, but it didn't knock it down. So that'll be a 10 box, and you can see Jim Putney now leads by 35 pins plus the spare fill. He leads this string by 7 plus the 28 he had coming in. So it's a 35 pin lead plus whatever he can add on this first ball. I mentioned in the previous string that Jim Putney had a lengthy winning streak on the Channel 5 bowling show with Don Gillis, the Saturday noon show. I am told that that was back in 1990, and that Jim won 14 consecutive shows, and also the live show at the end of the year. I'm not sure if he won that show or if he was just on it, but that was certainly a big year for Jim. Wouldn't be surprised if a pretty good portion of his income came from bowling that year. 14 wins in a row. And that'll be a 9 box for Jim Putney. I don't know exactly how many appearances Jim made on the Channel 5 show over the years, but it was many, many appearances other than just that streak in 1990. He was a regular participant on the show for a long time. And he's got an 8 drop. I was looking at the 610. Not sure if that wood is going to bother him, and no, it does not. It's another spare. Good ball in the 1-3 pocket for Shawn Baker. A little high, but he got that 5-pin to go. So instead of the 4-5-7, he's only got the 4-7. Piece of wood out front. But he does not get it. He went a little bit too far to the left, and instead of pushing it, the wood back into the 4-7, it just spun and kicked the 4 around it. Let's take another look. He goes a little bit too high, almost up on the cap there, and the pin goes to the right and the ball goes to the left, and the 7 just stands there and laughs at him, which is not what you need at this point in this match, when you're facing Jim Putney and a big couple of strings. But in any case, Shawn Baker with a 9 drop is looking at the 5-pin, and he's all over that for a spare in the 6th. But at this point, Shawn would pretty much probably have to mark out and most likely include some multiple strikes in that sequence in order to catch Jim Putney at this point. And Jim shows no signs of slowing down with an 8 drop. He's got the 4-10 plank in front of the 4, but it's going to be pretty difficult to kick it around and get the 4 to go over into the 10. Maybe if he goes way left, he might do well, and you can see he did go way left, but a little bit too far, and he didn't get the 4. So he'll be open in this box. And it'll be a 10. And Jim continues to pound the head pin. Another 8 drop. This time he's looking at the 6 and 10. Piece of wood out front that's kind of far out. So he's going to have to be a little bit careful with it to push it back in. And as it turned out, it spun a little bit and went around the 610. So he'll have an open box. Well, that'll be a 9. Shawn Baker with another nice 1-3 pocket hit. Again, he leaves the 5-pin. Opportunity for another spare. But he goes by it on the right side. So that was pretty much a must-make at that point. Shawn's quite a few marks behind at this point. Nonetheless, he will still pick up a... And you can hear the crowd. I should explain, that was there was a Bruins hockey game on, and the Bruins just scored a goal. That was a playoff game against the Montreal Canadiens. And the TV is right next to the scoring monitor. So a lot of the fans were paying as much attention to the hockey game as to the bowling match at that point. And Jim Putney can afford to miss the head pin at this point. He does look pretty tired, but as I say, he has bowled great all day. Just really had a phenomenal run en route to winning this Pro Series Championships tournament. That's a great way to finish the year. That'll be a 10 box in the 9th. I think there's still some speculation going on about the different playoff scenarios that might materialize between the Bruins and the Canadiens. Of course, there are some international hostilities at times between the U.S. and Canada in bowling as well, as we know. A lot of the international tournaments that happen are always a good time. As Jim Putney finishes up, and that'll be a 9 box. We'll show you the score as soon as Shawn Baker bowls his last 2 boxes. Shawn, as I mentioned, is a regular member. Speaking of the international competition, he bowls for Lucky Strike in the World's Invitational Team Tournament, which happens every November, trading off between the U.S. and Canada. This year, the tournament has begun to move around to different sites, and this coming year, the event is going to be held at Academy Lanes in Bradford, Massachusetts, not far from here at Pilgrim. So that'll be an opportunity for New England fans to come up and check out some of the action. The Worlds always has some really phenomenal teams that are put together on both sides. So anyway, Shawn Baker finishes up, and he has a 2nd place finish here in the Pro Series Championships. And Jim Putney accepts the congratulations from the crowd for winning the Pro Series Championships match play event, and he is congratulated by some of the other bowlers, Bob Whitcomb and Craig Holbrook there. And we will show you the scoreboard in just a moment. But a very impressive performance by Jim Putney all afternoon. And here you can see the score. 120 in the second string. So he stretched out to a 43-pin victory over Shawn Baker in the finals here at the Pro Series Championships. And that is a fitting way to conclude the day. Strong, very strong match play run here by Jim Putney. So he is the winner of the Pro Series Championship Tournament. And we will see you next fall.